Okay, let's start this off, because a crowd is when somebody or people, one or more people, take place in something. So let's start it off by doing a crowd selfie. Are you guys ready? Okay, I need everybody to smile. I'm going to go back so I can get everybody here. Sir, you're not smiling? I need you to smile. Everyone raise your hands. We're all having fun, right? Here we go. Ready? 1, 2. Awesome. I just used it and I posted it up on Facebook, and I'll post it on Twitter. It's facebook.com/Brian Kramer. So make sure you like it or tag yourself. Here we go. Ready?
Will it be the Oscar selfie, Brian?
It's the Oscar selfie. Just put your head is, everyone's head's in it. See, we beat Ellen on this one. Okay, it just posted. Well, thank you guys for being here, especially after lunch. We have some fun that we're going to do, and let me get this set up. Topic here is crowd marketing. We're talking about human-to-human marketing, and that, like Pretty had suggested, I have written a book. And the way that book came about was pretty interesting. Let me see if I can forward this here. The name of the book is There Is No More B2B or B2C. It's human to human. Hi there. Come on in. You guys missed the selfie. So if you guys want to take selfies of yourself and post it up, okay? We're expecting good selfies. Everyone take a selfie, by the way. #CSW. Global 14. Thank you. Let's get the tweets off and running. Hi there. So this book, the way that this book came about, it actually launched 6 weeks ago. And it was interesting because the book wasn't even a hint in my eye. I had no idea that I was going to write this book. I was actually working on a much different book. Now I'm back talking. Oh, good. We have some selfies going on back there. See, if I was Ellen, I would go behind them. And so what I did is I've been talking for about 13 years, ever since we started Pure Matter, our digital agency that I had as a nice introduction here. And we've been talking about human approach and human interactions and how user interface and user design and all these things that we're talking about today as part of the crowd is really a person-to-person or human-to-human experience. And so I had this screen up when I was giving a keynote, and the audience really must have liked it, because they took a picture of it, and they tweeted it. And over 24 hours, it ended up getting over 80 million impressions. And it wasn't anything that I had planned, quite frankly. Had I had pushed it, I would have been here, standing here, telling you I got 80 million impressions, but that's not the case. I actually just put this up on one of the slides, which has now become one of the primary slides because it's turned itself into a book. I listened to the crowd. I saw everything that everyone was saying on Twitter, on Facebook, and took all of that great information, just like we saw with the emotional mapping over here. I took software and used software to map that and see how it was resonating. And I took all of those great tweets and ideas and things that people were saying around the world. And for the next 4 days, I sat and wrote a book. And I took everything that I'd been writing about for years and actually curated that into the book. So it wasn't as if I just sat there and wrote this book in 4 days. I had written about all this stuff for a long time. It just happened to resonate at the right time in the right place using the crowd. So that's how the book came to fruition. I ended up taking the book and self-publishing it, because there was no way that a publisher was going to be able to publish this book in a matter of a week. So I published it myself, got it up, and now I'm happy to report it's in the top 1% sales on Amazon. So listening to the crowd is what I'm really trying to point at here. By listening to the crowd, I was able to then write a book about what the crowd was talking about and what was resonating. And doing that in real time and making sure that there was some efficiencies involved. Had I done this a year later or 6 months later, it probably wouldn't have done as well. So relevancy and time are the two most important things there. Looking at the three basic areas that I cover in the book, and again, we're going to get into what makes a crowd, but simplicity, empathy, and imperfection are the three key areas for any human-to-human campaign. And that is what we're talking about here. When we talk about crowd marketing, we're talking about how do we connect, right, with one or more people. And so through simplicity, and you're going to see a lot of that here, in the simplicity of what we say and do is when people grab onto an idea and run with it. When you have empathy, you're leaning towards understanding your audience. Where again, we were talking about that with the emotional mapping. So everything that we're gleaning out of Twitter is an emotion. It's an emotion that's resonating with other people. And so how we take that and utilize that in our marketing campaigns is very important. And then the imperfection in life. And I cover this in my book. I actually wasn't going to bring this up, but I will. My biggest chapter that I am most endeared towards is called Embrace Your Inner Fokker. And it's all about the imperfection in life and how we need to embrace it. Who here, and this is the honesty meter, okay? Are you ready? I'm going to watch for the honesty. Who here has who here has walked into a meeting with their zipper down? Honesty meter. Honesty meter. 50, well, okay, and then who here has walked into the wrong restroom? A lot more people. Wow, we're trending. That's business too. We're human. We do these things. And I'm joking when I say embrace your inner Fokker because as companies, it's hard to be flamboyant about the things that we're having mistakes over or things are happening. So it's really important that we embrace them right away, come out and say, this is what happened, this is why it happened, I'm sorry I walked in on you in the restroom, and you apologize. I'm kidding. The other thing that I really like to point out is how to create value. And how do you create value inside of a crowd when there's a lot of people that you need to touch in some way? And everybody here has heard of Domino's? Okay, good. It's a global brand. Good. So one of the things that I did before I started high school was try to look for a job that I could keep. Who here has hated, again, raise your hands, who here has hated a job, one job in high school or college? You did not like one job. Okay, over 50%. The rest of you, I want to hire you to come work for me. I fucking hated every job that I had in high school and college. It was horrible because I couldn't keep the job because after about 2 weeks, they wanted me to do things like make a sandwich in under 30 seconds. I'm like, really? You want to eat a sandwich I make in 30 seconds? Look at this thing. So I kind of tended to be that, I think, entrepreneurial spirit that all of us are in this room after seeing and meeting a lot of you. And I really started to realize that, in order for me to succeed as an entrepreneur, I really need to understand, how do you become one? And so I finally got a job in college at Domino's. I was a pizza delivery driver. I had the flag and the hat and the whole 9 yards. And I was making 0 tips, maybe even $1 trying to deliver these pizzas. I'm like, man, I'm going to last here for 2 weeks again. But I finally found in a Safeway nearby in a grocery store, I found a pallet of 2-liter Diet Coke and Cokes, 50 cents for 2. And so a quarter a piece. And I was like, wow, quarter per 2 liters. It's basically free to me. So I bought the whole pallet. I put it in the back of my 1984 Chevy Blue Blazer. And I delivered a free 2-liter to every person that ordered a medium or larger. And every time I delivered that 2-liter and I said, here you go, they'd say, well, most of the time they were stoned. So, in a college atmosphere, they're like, whoa, man, I didn't even realize I ordered that. And I'm like, actually, this is free. This is for you. Then just wanted to give this to you. And I swear to God, almost every time they'd reach in and they'd find $5 and $10 and pull it out and hand it to me. And after that first night, I was like, wow, I have $300 to $400 in my hand here delivering these things for free. So I lasted there for about a month and a half. And the reason I ended up lasting only a month and a half is because they pulled me into the office and they said, you have to stop doing this. Because we're getting calls from the other people that are delivering saying they're not delivering 2 liters. And I was like, well, you guys need to start doing this. This is a good way to make money for everyone. And now, since then, they've taken on 2 liters, and I don't get a commission for that, so that's not cool. But my point here is that in everything that we do, we really need to deliver unexpected value. It's the unexpected value that we deliver in the crowd that can generate all kinds of goodness. We're going to walk through that. So what's a crowd? A crowd is something that we've heard about, a couple times here earlier from Sean and Jeremiah and others talking about the difference between membership and non-membership, ownership and non-ownership. Somebody wants to belong to something. And how we create that space for them to belong is up to us here in this room. These are going to be up, by the way, this presentation will be up on SlideShare. So why do crowds catch on? What makes a crowd take over and take hold of something and really be passionate about it, really want to be a part of something? Have you guys ever been involved in the wave at a stadium, a sports stadium, where a wave all of a sudden takes off and you're like, wow, sometimes it goes around once, sometimes it goes around 3 times. Once, I saw it go around like 10 times. And it was because we were at a really exciting, intimate game where it was for the playoffs, and we were so excited to be there. And so the crowd was totally into it. The experience, the energy took off. I have an idea. Let's do one right here. Let's have a wave. Let's see if we can recreate this, because it's after lunch, and we need to do a wave. So I need one person either on that side or on that side. Just one person, raise your hand. Awesome. You are in charge of the wave. Go. Okay, that was good. Maybe we could do better. So you need to lead this side right here. And I'm going to leave it to you to do the rest. Are you ready? Yeah. Go. We got to go back, guys. Come on. We got to go back. Yeah. That's fantastic. So this is interesting. Not just because it's after lunch, but it's interesting because a crowd can do a couple different things. It's always it's based on one person. One person or one thing really starts to promote the crowd and how that energy in the crowd goes off. I just sprung this on you, so I'm not holding this against you on the first time around, but that's typical of a wave. I mean, you've all been in sports stadiums where the wave takes off sort of the first time, great the next time, and then overwhelming if there's another third time. Same thing just happened here. And the reason that happens is because A, there's a leader, B, there's energy and enthusiasm, and C, because I'm up here telling you that you need to do it. No, I'm kidding. But I want you to pay attention to these case studies, because the same thing that you just experienced in this wave that we just did is the same formula that applies to each of these marketing case studies. And the crowd, or the wave, takes place, this is the stadium. This is the social stadium. Brian Solis puts this together once a year. It's called the Social Prism. There's over 750 social media platforms that you can take part on. And as your idea spreads through these channels, it can go throughout the entire social stadium. There's 2 sides to crowd marketing. There's dark and there's delightful. I'm going to spend our time talking here about the delightful side, but I do want to bring up the dark side, because the dark side is something that we all kind of don't like to talk about. We kind of want to make sure that this never happens. It's the kind of thing where on the basic level, we're talking about that pop-up box that happens right at the second where you're trying to do something and you're like so annoyed by the experience. Or it's the NSA. And thinking about, or in the United States, the NSA thinking about how they're going to take advantage of the content or the data that they're using, and whether we should trust being on social media platforms. It's how we feel when we're in a shopping experience and your shopping cart is almost done and the whole thing vanishes and you're just annoyed at the entire experience. You're like, I'm out of here. I'm not going to spend any more time on this. It's that dark side that we want to stay as far away from as we can. The delightful side hits on things like this. I think Sean brought it up earlier this morning. I'm going to dive into it just a little bit more. Anybody here not hear or see about the Bat Kid, SF Bat Kid? Few. SF Bat Kid is such an amazing case study because it allowed to prove again that humanity, emotion, and a caring experience by one kid can affect an entire world. I mean, there's really just a few of you that hadn't seen this before. So I'm going to show you this real quick.
Battled a very adult battle, beginning not even 2 years of age and battling leukemia. They're robbed of their childhood for 3 years. We hope to restore some of that, turning San Francisco into Gotham City and help Miles have a little bit of his childhood back.
Gotham City needs you, Batman. This is Police Chief Greg Sir, only hoping you can hear my voice. It's critical that you call me right now. We have a damsel in distress. But that's just the beginning, Batman. Just the tip of the iceberg. You have to call me. It's urgent. Please, Cape Crusader, we need you. And bring the Bat Kid.
I don't even know, after 15 years, that I can appropriately articulate what that power of a wish is like. But you know it when you see it. The attention on Miles and this wish, what San Francisco is doing, is incredible. Part of the process of what Make-A-Wish does in planning a wish is giving the child something to look forward to. So during Miles' darkest moments of chemotherapy and being sick and hospital stays, this was a distraction for him to start thinking about when he was going to be Batman. It got picked up by a blogger and it just went viral, and as a result, the wish has taken on a life of its own. I don't know what scale a 5-year-old thinks of a lot of people, and it comes from a town of 1,000. I know when it works when I look at the parent's face, and I look at the joy that they receive. He's in remission. He just finished up his last chemotherapy. It's one of the reasons the family asked to do the wish now, so he would have energy. Superheroes need a lot of it. I think this wish just really struck a chord with people. A lot of people remember from their childhood wanting to be a superhero, and here he is battling leukemia. And as far as I'm concerned, every child with a life-threatening medical condition is a superhero to me.
This was a global phenomenon because it touched so many people's hearts. And that was one of the secrets to this campaign's success. But the other, I don't know if you caught it in this video, was that one blogger picked it up and wrote about it, and it took off from there. It was the power of one to create the crowd to stand behind the SF Bat Kid. It was then taken and mapped out throughout the city so they could see exactly where he was going to be and follow his progress throughout the day. We were glued to our computers in the Bay Area and around the world thinking, where's the Bat Kid going to show up next? Where are people talking about his exciting opportunities, including him running around the bases here at the Giants field and jumping here on his home base. He even got a tweet from Ben Affleck, who was the Batman himself, and said, "Batman, best Batman ever, SF Bat Kid, make a wish." Now, it's kind of ironic that I don't really think that Ben Affleck was the best Batman himself, but I think that that was really nice of him to tweet it. President Obama gave him a quick Vine video suggesting that he was doing a great deed for the city, and no tweet is complete without, or our campaign is complete without the Harlem Globetrotters getting in on some of the action. So what are the facts? The facts are that he had 11,000 volunteers that volunteered all based upon this one blogger and showed up 2 weeks before this ever happened to help out. They seeded content around the world that aggregated over 70,000 likes on Reddit alone. And Obama's tweet, whatever your political preference, received over 8,000 retweets. It's not bad at all. Now, Airbnb, we've been talking about them quite a bit today, and we've been talking about a lot of areas that, from a crowd perspective, are helping to support travel. But what happens when you take a marketing campaign to try and accentuate the message so that people can be a part of the company and be a part of the campaign itself? So they went out and they curated 45 questions. They put 45 questions, one question a day, out onto Twitter, and each time they asked everybody to turn in a Vine video with a specific instruction in each of those tweets. And what they got back was over 750 curated videos that ended up becoming this feature film about an airplane that could travel throughout the world due to the support of the crowd. It's pretty awesome. 750 vines turned in, more than that. They curated the 750 down to a motion picture. So the crowd, they made their crowd the star. Their videos ended up showing up in this movie, and what happened? It ended up going viral because it was their product. It was their movie that they helped to put together that went viral. It ended up getting over 322,000 views on YouTube and retweeted I know this is important for you guys to know, by Ashton Kutcher. Pretty cool. I'm kidding. Not cool. Well, all right, it's cool. So it received over, I think it was 1 million views also on Mashable, and there was a lot of interest as well from the crowd to do something else like this again. So they've been now taking this same formula and reapplying it. Obviously, they came across something good. And finally, I'm going to show you who here hasn't seen WestJet, the WestJet Christmas example. This is one of my favorite things to show. Let me do this quickly so that we can get...
On the eve before flying, the guests were in their beds. Visions of traveling danced in their heads. While out on the runway, something secret had arrived. It was left in the lounge. It was a Christmas surprise.
Is that Cohen? What are you looking for Christmas this year, Cohen? A choo-choo train? Ho, ho, ho! A classic! Do you like Thomas? And what would Mommy and Daddy like for Christmas?
Big TV.
Yeah, big TV.
Ho, ho, ho! A big TV! You're looking fabulous!
Well, I need to.
It's okay if you just want to stare at me as well. Ho, ho, ho!
What I need is new socks and underwear.
An Android tablet.
Is that William beside you? And Cameron?
Some Santa boots.
Stocking stuffing store.
While the guests told their Christmas wishes to good old St. Nick, WestJetters took notes and got ready to shop quick. It was a great rush with the 2 flights in the air to get all those presents. Not a moment to spare.
Sleigh bells ringing, there's children singing tonight. Lights are bright, I know it's a beautiful sight. Snowflakes fall in the world, it's snowy and white. Santa's coming to town, he's coming tonight.
Hey, Thomas, let's get it.
Christmas cheer and celebrations all across the line. This time of year, expectations waiting for the man.
Thanks for flying with us at WestJet. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of your flight.
Happy faces were all so merry and bright. Santa's coming to town, he's coming tonight.
But was everything ready? We all had to wait for the moment of truth at Carousel 8.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
The guests never expected what they'd asked of St. Nick would actually appear. It was all quite a trick. A WestJetter would say it was more than mere fun. Miracles do happen when we all work as one. We'll give Santa the last word on this most special night.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good flight.
So what did we learn here? When someone asks you in an airport what you want for Christmas, don't say socks and underwear. Wrong answer. My time is almost up, so I'm going to skip to the 4 basic points, but this campaign was obviously a success. In the travel industry, where you have a hard time gaining and containing an industry where it's really hard to compete, especially in airlines, they did a pretty good job connecting to people and connecting to the crowd. They ended up getting over 35 million views, over 1,000% increase in subscribers on YouTube, and over 1 million shares on Mashable, which was a new record for Mashable altogether. So 4 basic rules I want to leave you with that I've gone through here in these case studies. I have one more case study for you that's up on the slideshow that I will share afterwards. The first rule is have a simple human concept. And all of these is very simple and basic, easy to understand and easy to get for the crowd to take part. Number 2, have a structured plan. There wasn't anything here that took place in a matter of 24 hours, like I unfortunately did with my book. Everything that you're looking at was very structured and very planned out so that when it came time, it came together so seamlessly, much like this conference. Number 3, apply the rules of improv. Never say no. The crowd wants to participate. When they have ideas, take them in and utilize them in some fashion or form. And you'll see, just like you did in the Airbnb Vine videos, that everyone can take part and everybody can have a role. And finally, invite people to the party. A lot of times people they simply aren't asked. And I think inviting people to take part into your crowd marketing campaign will help you to get the virality that you're looking for. If I leave you with anything else, one thing that I'd love for you to remember is that we're connecting with humans. And it's a human-to-human environment. Businesses do not have emotions. People do. We need to connect with people and understand what it is that resonates in order to market to them, with them, and celebrate in business. Thank you very much.
How do you manage to write your book in 4 days?
In 4 days?
How much sleep?
I'll tell you exactly how. My son, who's 9, had the flu, and it's unfortunate that he had the flu because then I had to stay home and he wasn't feeling well. But I'm usually traveling a lot, and I ended up canceling my plans to stay home with him for 4 days, and I thought that it'd be a really good time to write a book. So I was up day and night, and my wife helped me as well. She's a copywriter, editor, and owns the business with me, and she and I sat there and pulled an all-nighter for 4 days, getting this thing done and getting it out. But the key to the whole thing was having written about it for now about 2 years and having a lot of content to pull from. So if I had not written a blog for as long as I have with as many blogs, I wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah.
So the crowd kind of gave you the spark to go ahead and write that book because of the response you got to the hashtag H2H. So
right, and I also tweeted different chapters throughout the book as I was writing it. So each chapter ended up becoming a crowdsourced idea,
right,
if you will. I would ping them, and I would hear back from them, and if it didn't resonate, I didn't write it into the book.
So it was a crowdsourced book.
Yeah,
in
it absolutely
sense,
was.
right?
I used both my content and crowdsourced content as well, crowdsourced ideas, to pull it together to see if it would resonate and how well it would resonate for the book itself.